Why does one person inspire you while someone even more successful does not? And is there a formula for that feeling? I started asking this after spending 7 hours making a YouTube video. I found a creator whose format was working, so I studied it. I had AI break down the scripts. I copied parts of the structure. Then I spent hours trying to make that video look as good as his. But when I finished, I felt worse. It felt less like mine. And it made me wonder, can a formula help you create something inspiring? Or could following a formula actually kill the thing that inspired you? To understand that, I had to look back at the moments that made me want to create in the first place. And the first one goes back to 2022. Money felt tight. I had a full-time job, a mortgage, 2 expensive pet bills, and a new baby. So when I found a writing course that cost $750, buying it didn't make any sense. But then I learned about the people who made it. They had taken their ideas, shared them online, built an audience, and created a business around writing. That was what got me. It wasn't really the lessons, it was their story. They showed me a future I had never seriously considered. A future where my ideas could lead somewhere, where creating was not just something I did on the side, it could become part of my life. And for the first time, I believed that future might be possible for me. So I bought the course. That was the first clue. A better future doesn't inspire you just because it looks good. You have to believe that future could become yours. You can show someone the perfect life, but if they cannot see themselves inside of it, they feel nothing. So maybe inspiration begins with possibility. You see a different future, and for a moment, you believe you could reach it. Still doesn't explain everything, because I see successful people every day. People with money, freedom, huge audiences, impressive lives, but most of them don't inspire me at all. So what makes one story hit while another one passes right through us? A few years later, I started building a software product. At first, I was just curious. Could I take an idea from my head and turn it into something real? I started making YouTube videos to support it. But after a while, I noticed something. I enjoyed making videos more than I enjoyed talking about the product. I liked exploring ideas and telling stories. I liked trying to understand why we think and act the way we do. But I was still treating everything like a business problem. Find the pain, build an audience, get people to sign up, sell something. Then one day I watched a video about the masculine heart. And this video felt different. It was quiet and cinematic, and it created a mood and an atmosphere. But what's with me was a story about an artist. And while he did eventually find success, that was the part that moved me. What moved me was that he knew he wanted to create. He kept following what was inside of him. Of course, he wanted it to work, but he was trying to succeed with something that felt true to him. I felt it before I could explain it. Something in me woke up, and I realized I was not inspired by what he had, but by the way he was living. He was making something that felt like his, and he stayed with it. That gave me the second clue. Maybe inspiration is not just admiration. Maybe it's recognition. You see someone living in a way that wakes up something inside you. They don't place the new desire in you. They remind you of something that was already there. Something you wanted, something you forgot, something you're afraid to take seriously. Because we're drawn to people who seem fully themselves. But being yourself is not enough. What moved me was that he stayed with it. He kept learning and practicing and creating. He gave what was inside him enough time for it to become real. So now the pattern is looking clearer. Possibility shows that your life could change. Recognition shows what kind of change feels true to you. But then there's a harder question. What happens when that feeling fades? That question brought me back to the video I had spent 7 hours making. Because I didn't begin YouTube by copying people. I began because I liked it. I liked speaking. I liked finding ideas. I liked turning something I had experienced into something another person could use. At first, that was enough. I made videos because I wanted to get better. Then I did get better. My standard rose, and creating was no longer enough. The videos had to be good. Then being good was no longer enough. They had to succeed. And this is where something changed, because I stopped asking, what do I want to make? And I started asking, what is most likely to work? While those questions sound close, they lead in completely different directions. I've seen this pattern in more than one project. It begins with curiosity. There isn't a huge plan. I'm just exploring, learning, following what feels alive. Then that first excitement wears off. That's normal because nothing feels new forever. So I raise my standards. I try to improve. And that's normal too. But there's a moment where improvement turns into impatience. I no longer want to learn slowly. I want proof that this is going to work. I want the shortcut. the formula, the plan that removes uncertainty, that gives me the step-by-step of how to get there. And this is usually when the mind takes over. It starts looking at what succeeded for other people. It tries to find the pattern. Then it says, do that, copy this, move faster, stop wasting time. And slowly, I stop trying to make my thing work and I start searching for the thing that's most likely to work. That is where inspiration can disappear. Not because work suddenly becomes hard, but because the hard work is no longer serving the thing that inspired you in the first place. It's replacing it. You're working, but you've stopped listening to that voice and that signal. That is why commitment matters. Inspiration may point you towards something, but commitment is what keeps you there after that initial feeling is gone. It's staying long enough to learn the craft, long enough to make mistakes, and long enough for your work to become more than just an early idea. The artist inspired me because he did not just feel something, he stayed with it. This is harder than ever now because copying the pattern has never been easier. AI can study thousands of success stories. It can show you the exact framework of how someone went from A to B. It can copy their tone, structure, style, the process. Some of this is useful. I use it. It can help you learn faster. It can help you express ideas more clearly. But a pattern can only show you what worked for someone else. It cannot tell you what deserves your dedication for years of your life. It can't tell you what will still matter after that initial excitement wears off. It can't feel the signal for you. The part of you that can recognize what succeeds is not always the part that can recognize what is worth pursuing. That's what I missed when I made that 7-hour video. The problem was not that I studied someone else or that I used a formula. The problem was that the formula began replacing the thing that I wanted to say. Strategy stopped serving the work. It started choosing what work to pursue. And that's the mistake. I think we understand what inspiration is supposed to do. We think it should give us endless energy. We think if we find the right path, we would feel excited every day. But inspiration is not meant to carry you forever. It's meant to point. Inspiration does not tell you how. It tells you what. It shows you that something feels possible. It helps you recognize a path that feels true to you. Then commitment carries you after the feeling fades. And your mind can help you from there. It can help you learn, plan, improve, find an audience, build a business, solve problems. Strategy is not the enemy. Optimization is not the enemy. But the order is what matters because your heart chooses the direction and your mind helps you build the road. Problem begins when the mind decides where you should go. So is there a formula for inspiration? Not one that makes every person feel the same thing, but I do think there's a pattern. First, possibility. You see a different future and you believe it could become yours. Then recognition. Something about that future feels true to you. It feels like it connects with a part of you that was already there. You feel it in your body. Then commitment. You stay with it after the first spark is gone. You practice, you learn, you keep making it work. And then comes strategy. You use your mind to improve what you found. You don't use it to replace what you found. Possibility, recognition, commitment, then strategy. The order matters because if you begin with strategy, you may become very good at building something you never truly wanted. Your body already knows what inspiration feels like. You have felt it. A person spoke to you. A story moves you. A piece of work woke something up. Pay attention to those moments. Not because the feeling is destiny, but because the feeling may contain information and ancient wisdom planning cannot give you. It may show you what you believe is possible. It may remind you of something you've been ignoring. It may point you toward work that could truly be yours. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You just need to remember what the inspiration was pointing toward. Then let your mind help get you there. Let your brain handle the logistics. Just don't let it pick the destination because inspiration does not tell you how. It tells you what. Hey everyone. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you feel like you could use some additional reflection or want some visuals to go along with this video, check out the link below. I have all the resources on here. And if you really just want to deep dive and try to understand yourself, that's what this Becoming Library is built for. So thanks again for watching. Talk to you soon.